friends, and thank you for stopping by for today's video. My name is Kat. If you're new here, welcome. I love to share about the romance novels I read on my channel here, and today's book was a dark horse for me. I have read one other book by this author, so I was super excited to be able to read another book of hers because I loved that book. The author that we're going to talk about and book we're going to talk about today is Cassandra P. and the book is called Sticking to the Terms. The previous book that I read that I loved of hers was a holiday book, Say Yes to Christmas. I enjoyed it so very much. It was my favorite holiday read for sure last year. And now we have Sticking to the Terms. Sticking to the Terms is about Dillon and Lorenzo. He goes by Enzo. I loved this book. I'm almost a little speechless about it. I had no expectations really, except that I was excited to get back to read one of her books, and she has blown me away, absolutely blown me away. Dillon is a great girl, super likable character. She's a career girl, woman. Dillon lives with her best friend Liv, and then has two sisters and her mom. And you get the way Cassie peels back Dillon's layers. She seems to be one thing when we first get to know her a little bit, and then all of a sudden we start to see more about her. As it turns out, Dillon has not had a great bringing up. Her and her sisters are all from different men. They don't really know who their fathers are. Their mom has some mental challenges. She suffers from some mental illness. And as a result, their childhoods were quite chaotic. We know that the more we go into the book. And we learn that that has really formed her and her sisters in the way they are. I was very interested to see how Cassie was going to bring that more into the story with Enzo. Enzo is a very successful man. He's a little bit older than she is. He's got more money than he knows what to do with. He has built an empire. He has a very big, strong Italian family. He's very close to his sister Giovanna and his parents. His family and his familial relations are a big part of his life. They are his foundation. I loved Enzo, loved him, although he did piss me off a little bit. I really did love him. This is what Dillon says about her family. I was the clever, business-savvy, confident one that could go out and command a high salary, build an incredible life for myself, and she was the young, free, artistic one with the world at her feet. She was going places. According to Kat, she had nothing to offer. She'd been looking after Mom and us since she was 14. She didn't do well at school because she was always making sure Shay and I did, and that there was food on the table, and that we had new shoes when we needed them. Their roles as sisters and daughters were very defined, and they carry that with them into their adulthood. So I was interested to see where Cassie was going to have that played out because I knew it felt like an important thing. Dillon and Enzo meet at a bar at a club. She's there with Liv. I don't remember who he was there with. I think he's just there with friends. And he notices her because she's just kind of dancing by herself. Not a care in the world. And he's drawn to that. Of course, she's beautiful. He's totally, attracted to her. And he just kind of walks up to her and is like, they just kind of start dancing and stuff. One thing leads to another, and it ends up with a one-night stand. This is what Enzo says about seeing Dillon. Dancing alone right next to the speakers in a simple black tank top, jeans, and flat shoes, which blew my mind, as I never met a girl in a club who wasn't wearing heels. Hair roughly tied up on top of her head. She was there to dance, and that was all, and it was abundantly clear. Every woman around her was wearing sequin dresses or skirts that left nothing to the imagination, and so much makeup they would probably look like a different person in the morning, but not her. They all looked beautiful. I truly believe women are goddesses and deserve the world on a plate, all of them. But her, She grabbed me without any intention and without realizing it. She just wouldn't let go. She wasn't there to meet anyone. She was there to dance. She was moving so freely, so aware of her body and of the beat consuming her. I couldn't take my eyes off her, and without meaning to, I found myself approaching her. I don't do that. I really liked that right out of the gate with Enzo, that he had a sister and he doesn't approach women because he doesn't like the way men approach his sister. I think there's really something to be said for character in a person. I understand Enzo as a character in a book, but that thought process, he's a very self-aware individual to have that thought process and to carry it out in his life. And I really liked that about him. And then a little bit later on, I've never been with a woman who didn't want more, yet she didn't even look up as I got dressed and left. It wasn't how my nights out usually went, but it was the best one I think I'd ever have. That's Dillon. Dillon, as we learn more about her, really likes sex, finds that she needs that connection, but keeps it real surface. She enjoys one-night stands. She doesn't want a relationship. She does not foresee herself ever having a relationship. She doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to have kids. Therefore, she just has sex and she's fine with that. She feels very comfortable in her life. She's just going about it how she's going to go about it. And that's just the way it was. She really liked Enzo. Their chemistry was off the charts. You feel that. Cassie writes a sexy book, not a spicy book. And if you understand the distinction, and I was completely fine with that. I felt their tension. I felt their attraction. Their chemistry on these pages, out of control, and their sexy time was very sexy. So I wondered how they were going to run into each other again. How's this going to work out? And then, oops, this is how it happened. Dillon, he says, narrowing his gaze as he silently acknowledges that I gave him a different name. Lorenzo Romano, a pleasure to meet you. I nod my agreement, breathing in through my nose to keep from throwing up. He is Lorenzo Romano, my company's biggest client. I've heard his name, obviously, but never been involved in any meetings with him, and it never crossed my mind that he might be as young as he is or that he looks like he does. So, turns out, kind of is a workplace thing. Dillon has to take over Enzo as a client because some stuff happens at work, and all of a sudden now they have to work together. Well, of course, he's like, oh, okay, here's my chance. We know that they both haven't stopped thinking about each other, but there's a little bit of role reversal, I felt like, in this book. And I don't want to sound antiquated when I say that, but usually it's the guys that need some convincing that they're fine just to be out there kind of playing the field, having no strings attached sex, having one-night stands, living the quote-unquote playboy life. And in this book, Dillon was like that. Dillon was the one that was out there being free, having sex with guys she wanted to have sex with, having one-night stands, having no strings attached. And Enzo was the one that was like, oh my gosh, I like her. I want a wife. I want to have a family. I have no shortage of available people. I just am waiting for the right person. I really liked that difference. I liked, from the female perspective, reading about Dillon. And then from the male perspective, Enzo ticked all my boxes. He was a protector. He was a nurturer. He was sensitive. But yet he was also, I don't want to say alpha, but he was alpha when he needed to be. He was commanding. He was a businessman who built an empire, so he was strong. He took care of his family. He had deep personal relationships with his family. He was just exactly who I am attracted to. So it was interesting to me to see the little bit of role reversal that their relationship had in how it starts. And this is what Enzo says after they have realized they have to work together. So to recap, you were living a free, happily promiscuous life. Then we met, had the most incredible night I've ever had, and neither of us has slept with anyone else since, but you won't let me take you out. Thing is, I want to see you again, touch you again. I've thought about not much else since that night, so what's the answer here? Because I haven't got this far in life by backing down. I get the impression you're just as tenacious, so come on, let's negotiate. It's like, no negotiated needed for me. I loved that Dillon made it clear to him, to Enzo, that she's not going to risk her career that she has built for sex with him. And Enzo respects that. He respects all of that, but he also feels what he feels for her. And he was not going to give up on that. Enzo gives her a proposition so that he can get something he wants and she can get something that she needs and wants. And she's at a precipice with her family life. There needs to be a change made there. There's a negotiation and they figure out how to spend some more time together. But I'm not going to go completely into that because I feel like it would kind of be a spoiler. That's where the book sucked me in so much. The push and pull between them, their chemistry, Dillon being so stubborn and Enzo being like, I need to figure out how to get this woman in my life. All the emotions that get brought up between them. Oh my gosh, I loved it. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. There were super swoony moments. And there's this particular moment where they're dancing. And oh my gosh, it played like a movie in my head. I loved it. And it's not just about them dancing. It's what gets brought up between them and the feelings that are bubbling at the surface and them both trying to figure out how to handle it all. And it's just, it meant a lot. And it was one of those moments where I just saw them just so clearly. And it's from Dillon's perspective. Would you dance with me? He says, as the people we're talking to turn away to find their own dance partners. And I move my head to look up into his eyes. He takes my breath away and I can't speak, so I just nod. Enzo takes my empty glass and puts it down on the nearest table, then gently places a hand on the bare skin of my lower back, making me inhale sharply as he guides me towards the dance floor. I love that. He takes my right hand in his left and using the hand on my back, holds me close to his body as the music fills the room. The connection is bliss and the feel of his skin on mine, the sensation of his hard body pressed against me is almost unbearable. My head is spinning. I'm slightly fuzzy from the champagne, but this is most definitely the Enzo effect. I look up into the intense dark eyes and I feel like I can't breathe. Panic washes over me at the way he makes me feel, and I step back. I need some air, I say, breathing hard and placing a hand on my chest. Dillon, are you okay? He leans down slightly and reaches forward for my arms, concern etched on his face. I just need a minute, some quiet, I say, shaking my hands out to dispel my rising panic, and he straightens up. Okay, come on. And he leads her off the dance floor. Oh my gosh. I felt him in that moment when he was like, are you okay? He's so caring and he loves her at this point. And she's like, but I can't. And she won't let go and she won't let him in. Oh my gosh, it was killing me. It was the sweetest torture. I was like, come on, Dillon. He's right there. He's right there. He's worth it. Come on. She was so stubborn and so afraid and wouldn't let herself be vulnerable. Oh my gosh. My heart, Dillon. I got her. I really did. I had no idea how this was going to work out. How were we possibly going to get happily ever after? They have a fight. And I was in tears while reading it, them fighting. It killed me. And it's one of those fights that, like changes your relationship, if it like in a good way and a bad way. It wasn't like their first fight because they were kind of coming to head a few times. But it was that, oh my God, come to Jesus fight where it was like, this is either going to work or it's not. And I was in tears. It was not pretty. I was so sad because I honestly didn't know how Cassie could write a happily ever after with things where they were at that point in the book. This is what Enzo says. I met a girl in a club. We had an incredible night together, and that should have been it. I didn't ask or expect to see her in that boardroom, but I could and should have left it at that. I should have acknowledged the awkwardness of the situation and resigned myself to working alongside her whilst Davis was off. But she blew me away. I knew she was different the night we met. She worked her way into my brain and wouldn't get out. I saw she was different when we started to work together, but getting close to her since we came to our agreement, being in San Francisco with her, seeing her with my family, it's all just deepened my feelings for her, and now I can't imagine how I'm going to go back to life without her in it. All I want to do is sweep her off her feet, tell her how I feel, and spend my life making her laugh, making love to her, making a home with her. Oh my God. Every day that I look at her smile, her smell that bloody coconut shampoo or body cream, I think today is the day I'm going to tell her. Maybe if I tell her, she'll realize it's safe to let go of whatever it is holding her back, but I know she won't. Whatever it is, it's a very real barrier for her, one she's not willing or able to cross, no matter how much she might want to. I have to harden my heart to her. I have to stop looking at her the way I do. I have to stop seeing her as my future when she's not even my present. She's an employee, and that's as much as Dillon Benedetto is ever going to be to me. I make my way back towards the party, but bypass the frivolities and head back to the tent. I just can't bear to watch her charm my family anymore, knowing she'll never be part of it. It's too hard. Oh my gosh, look at me. He killed me at that point. Where's the happily ever after going to be? I was so sad and brokenhearted for Enzo. Cassie throws curveballs at us that I did not see coming, and she does not let go of us with her writing and their story literally until the very end. And I am very happy to say there is a happily ever after. Thank God. The funny thing is that because I'm just getting to know Cassie's writing, and yes, there was a happily ever after with Say Yes to Christmas, but I didn't know. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, is this one of those authors that is like, well, screw you. I don't have to see rainbows and butterflies for my characters. I was like, oh my gosh, she takes us all the way up to the end, not letting go of my heart. I kind of love that. I will admit to being very overwhelmed when I finish the book. And I love that. That's the amazing part of a great story and a great author that tells stories like Cassie does. She did not let Dillon and Enzo walk off into the sunset with cherubs and rainbows. No, they worked for it. They worked for their happily ever after all the way till the end of this book. And then let me tell you, the epilogue. Oh, I don't even know if I can talk about it. It was so beautiful. See, I can't. I almost am not going to be able to. So I will just say that Enzo gets a letter from his grandmother. That's all I'm going to say. Absolute perfection. I was a blubbering mess at the end of the book. And I love it. Isn't that crazy? But I do. I love it. I loved being like that. Let me know if you have read Sticking to the Terms or any of Cassie's other books. Oh my gosh, highly, highly, highly recommend. As always, I will put a direct to Amazon link in the description box below for Sticking to the Terms if you would like to grab it. I welcome you to come over to my social media, which is Cat Reads Romance on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And by the way, Cassie's on TikTok. She's amazing. I follow her. She has been so wonderful to me on TikTok. She's a lot of fun, so make sure you go follow her over there too. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.